How does prep sit for you guys right now? I know the goal is always focused on yourself. You don't even know who your opponent is at this stage.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're more worried about what we have going on internally, take care of where we can improve and get better. Obviously, between Boston and New York, they share many similarities and many differences. So just harping on the main things of that, and it's more. I think today is more about worrying about us, where we can improve and how we can be better throughout
you guys have talked about how experience has made you better from last year at this time. What does that feel like to you? What specific things do you like? I'm more equipped for this playoff thing because I did this last year.
I think just moving on to the next play. I think throughout the course of the playoffs, there's missed calls, there's calls that you don't agree with, there's crazy things that go on through the course of the game. There's guys that are making shots that you aren't accustomed to. There's many things that can happen in a playoff game, but I think as time goes on and more experience I get there in the playoffs, I think the more I'm equipped to just move on to the next play, to be ready to take whatever comes with the game. There's so many different things that can happen through the course of the basketball game, especially in the playoffs. So just ready for whatever.
You just talked about having to work on yourselves. After 2 series when you win by 5, what were the things that you did focus on? You said, okay, that still wasn't as good as it needed to be.
Yeah, we obviously got to do a much better job rebounding the ball. Cleveland dominated us on the glass for 3 games, really, and we don't know who it's going to be between New York and Boston, but we know both those teams rebound at a high level. So that's the biggest thing. How can we match that physicality and rebounding the ball, and then offensively just being really hard. Defensively, the series whoever we play is going to come down to who can get enough stops, and that's where we've taken a big jump from last year, but that's where these games and these series will be won.
Obviously, you played both of them last year. How do you see the differences in each of them in terms of how they've evolved? Of course, obviously, one for Boston does not have the tandem right now, but how do you see each of those teams being different than they were a year?
Yeah, they both present different challenges, different in their own ways. I think Boston without Jason is obviously a different team, a team that Jason's just been such a staple, and it feels like he never misses games. So they're a different team, and so they got to be prepared for whatever that will present. Obviously, they've started a different lineup. Cornette played a lot last game. They can run a lot of different lineups. So we got to be prepared for whatever that is. If it's New York, obviously they've added Mikal from last season. Mitchell Robinson's healthy, wasn't healthy last year. Cat's obviously a huge addition. So we got to be prepared for whatever it is. And we played both these teams 3 times during this season. So we got a good film on playing against both these teams. So you can watch as much as you can right now to be prepared for whoever that is. But like I said, I think more the preparation right now is about how can we improve internally, keep the edge that we have moving forward, and just be prepared for whoever it is.
Tyrese, as Justin said, you played them both last year, and he asked how they've evolved. How have you guys evolved? You're clearly better. How have you guys evolved?
Yeah, I just think we've improved in many different ways. I think we've taken a really big jump on the defensive side of the ball. That's really, I think, jump-started what we've been able to do this year, is just the jump we take on that side of the ball. Offensively, we are who we are. We're always going to play with a high pace. We got so many guys that can have big games, make shots, whatever the case may be. But I think what we're doing defensively is where we've taken our biggest jump. So we've got to continue to do that.
And going back to last year just a little bit, Media Day this year, Chad Buchanan was talking to us and said, these guys, y'all, feel slighted. He said they know that outside people think that your Eastern Conference Finals run was injury-related. And he said, these guys are hungry. I'm guessing you're not full yet, but were you slighted, and how good does this feel to do it again?
Yeah, I think everybody felt that way a little bit. That's just the commentary around the run was based on that, and I think that we said many times you can't control who's in front of you. You just gotta be ready to go, whatever the case may be, and we'll never apologize for who we play. It is what it is. But yeah, we definitely felt that way coming into the year. Wanted to, prove people wrong and the doubters wrong, but I think we also want to prove ourselves right, that we, that last year wasn't a fluke. And obviously it's been an up and down year. We started the year pretty rough, but we've been able to, really change things around, and here we are today. So we're not done. We still got a lot of basketball left in us, but definitely excited what we're doing, and it's part of, building what we want to build here.
Tyrese, you read a lot on social media. Are you getting a sense now that Indiana has respect?
Sure. I think to a level, I think that as basketball players, I don't think as NBA guys, I don't think anybody ever feels like you get the respect that you're due necessarily. But yeah, I think the biggest thing for us is that our peers who we're playing against know, it's going to be a challenge. I think the biggest, obviously you guys heard Coach Missoula this year say Indy was our toughest opponent, and that kind of became like a meme, like a participation award to a sense. But I think that's the most respect you could get is from who you're ultimately competing against, and they know that they have to prepare to play against us the right way, and that we pose a threat. So I think we're getting that from our peers, which I think matters the most. But I do think at the end of the day, respect and notoriety and all those things. Next year, what days do we get to play in the marquee matchups and the big days and the big games? All that comes from winning. So the more that we win, we'll get more respect from the league, the public, whatever the case may be. But we just got to control what we can. And, it all comes from winning. So if you win, all the individual accolades, respect, all that stuff come with winning. So we just got to take care of that.
The silly follow-up is that because you can always have a chip on your shoulder when you're the underdog and feel like everybody's against us. And that's a good rallying cry. But when you're known and you're respected, is it?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I think so. I think everybody you can feel good when people are talking positive about you, which there's a lot of that going on around this group right now. There's a lot of public and media people talking very highly of us. But I think the trick is you don't want to rest on that for the next week and then play whoever we play and get your teeth kicked in, So I think the biggest thing is you can see it, right? And you can feel good about it, feel however you want to feel about it. But at the end of the day, we're not done. We know we all have a bigger goal in mind. Our goal wasn't just to get to the Eastern Conference Finals and be done. Our goal is to win a championship. So that's what matters the most to us. And yeah, it feels good that, like anybody else, if anybody's talking positive about anybody here, you feel good about it. But we know there's a lot more that we want to accomplish. So we don't want to rest on that. We know we got a lot more to chase, and we're going to continue to do that.
You talked a lot about the organized chaos that makes the offense work. How do you make that work as a team? Like year over year, practice over practice, how does that come together to create a team that's good?
Yeah, I think trial and error. I think, working on that through practice, working on that through games, just many different opportunities to do it. We all watch a lot of film, talk a lot about what we're seeing in today's league and things that we can implement to what we do offensively. We have great basketball minds on our staff that continue to add new things. We have a running joke that Coach Carlisle has to add a new play every day. But I feel like every day we're adding something new or working on something different. And we just put a lot of work into it. It's not something that is easy to just get good at. We've all been here for some time now. I think this is technically my third full year here. But I feel like we've worked on it a lot, and we do a lot of defensive breakdown, offensive breakdown, working on playing against our interns. And right now with our 2As not being able to play, we play against those guys and seeing different things that we can implement. So it all comes with work on it, and I think a big kudos to our front office for keeping our group together. So coming into the year, we knew who we were offensively. We didn't necessarily have to add a ton or work on a ton of things. It was more about just keep getting better at what we do so well. So I think there's many different things that play a part in it, but I do think the biggest part of it is just working on it consistently and trial and error. Offensively, we have games this year where we look awful, and you see so many different coverages in today's NBA that's the best part about it is you can see so many different things, especially in our conference, right? You play Boston, sometimes they want to switch all the way down the line. You play Cleveland, they run too big, so they guard it more traditional most times. But when Allen's out and Mobley's at the 5, they switch everything down the line. Teams like Brooklyn, they switch everything down the line. Milwaukee, they play a more traditional with Brook at the 5, and he's more in a traditional drop. But when he comes out and Bobby and Giannis are at the 5, they switch everything. So there's so many different coverages that you see through the course of the season that I feel like that allows us to work on it. And fortunately, knock on wood, we've been relatively healthy to have a group to consistently play against different things and see different looks. So I think Cleveland, they guarded us where they guarded me full court denied. We've seen that. Memphis did it a couple different times throughout the course of the year. There's just many teams that have the Lakers, I think back to the in-season tournament last year, they did that to me at the same time. So I think we've just seen so many different coverages. I feel like we've seen a little bit of everything that we're just accustomed to it and know how to attack it the right way. And if we have a bad game 3, where we don't attack it the right way, sometimes it can feel like the world's falling apart and everybody wants to talk so negative. And the funny part about the playoffs is when you win, it feels like you'll never lose, and when you lose, it feels like you're never going to win again. So that's the funny part about it. But we study and we do a lot of different things, and I feel like that plays a part.